Hi, welcome to our session today. I hope that you're well. We're going to be doing EFT, emotional freedom technique, exploring coping with difficult times, feeling empowered to cope with difficult times, which is it's quite a big topic, isn't it? And we're going to explore a bit about what that means, feeling that we can cope, feeling empowered to cope, and some tools that we can use to help us in the process. So hopefully that sounds good. And I want you to know that whatever your challenges or what's coming up for you, what's going on at the moment, that you're not alone. Obviously, it's completely human nature to struggle and to face challenges at different times in our lives. I think sometimes it can feel that we are the only ones or we're isolated, but actually it's very much a part of being human, isn't it? So I'm really pleased that you're able to join the session today. Whether you are here live, you might be watching this session back. Welcome. And my name is Stella. I am an EFT advanced practitioner. I'm also trained to train other people to be EFT practitioners. I will say a bit more about what EFT is shortly, because even if you are aware, it's good to have a reminder, and some people might not have any idea what EFT tapping is. Either way, you're in the right place and it's all good. And I'm also a Qigong instructor. I do regular sessions on the Virtual Village Hall. If you haven't checked out those sessions, the Qigong or previous EFT sessions that I've done on a range of topics, I really encourage you to look through that playlist. And also other sessions of Virtual Village Hall offer a really wonderful range. Okay, so what you need for this session, really you don't need much at all, just yourself. Ideally, a glass of water or something refreshing, and you want to be nice and cozy and comfortable. Sometimes when we're sitting still, our temperature might drop, especially if we are tapping and moving emotions. Sometimes we get warm, sometimes we might get cool. So it's good to have something to hand, like a blanket if needed. And also a sort of quiet space, ideally. Not always possible, I know. Whether you might share your home with other people or maybe four-legged creatures that might interrupt and make noise, just as best we can. So it's good to turn your phone off and to put it away, to put it on silent, whatever you need to do, just to make this time kind of sacred for you, without those distractions that are so easily pulling us in different directions. So EFT. EFT is an energy psychology, it's a mind-body therapy. How best to describe it in a summary? Well, it's about moving energy. So we're working with the traditional Chinese medicine model in a way. So if you have had acupuncture or acupressure, or you're probably just aware of it, where needles or pressure is put on certain points around the body. These points in traditional Chinese medicine are about meridians. So we're helping energy to flow along the meridians in your body. These meridians are like streams. They want to run nice and smoothly. Sometimes that water, the energy in our streams gets blocked, gets clogged, gets tense, gets stuck, and that causes issues. It causes disruption in our emotions, our mental health, and symptoms in the body as well. So for EFT, we're helping to move the stuck, stagnant energy or water along those streams. We're helping to move it through, helping to erode the block, move your energy through. And really, we're talking about emotions. So energy, emotions, energy, interwoven, the same thing. Energy is just emotions, but it's meant to be moving and flowing. But for various reasons, it gets stuck and it gets blocked. And when we do this process together and we tap on these points, we're going to support you to shift some of the blockages in your system, to create more space, to let more light in, more of that empowered energy and more of the confidence to cope with the difficulty in your life. We're going to create more space for that, because if there's a room that's completely full, crowded, just completely full of all this stuff that we've hoarded, for example, over the years, and we're thinking this stuff is like heavy emotions and thoughts and beliefs, just stagnant energy that hasn't moved and has got stuck and yuck and murky. We need to create space to allow something else to come in, to allow that clarity, the clearness, and something new and different. And it's possible. We move some of that energy just a little bit to begin, and more light can come through. We can get more air. Okay, good. And this sense of empowerment, empowered to cope. I think that there's quite often in our life we can get into quite a negative cycle of thoughts and loops of thoughts, and it's again part of human nature. So it happens to all of us. It happens every day, I think, to us. Some of us might be more stuck in that loop and might be experiencing more suffering through that loop of those negative thoughts, maybe feeling like things just don't work out for me, or no matter what I do, it won't be enough. I can't change this. These are very disempowering thoughts. Again, totally natural. It's not a judgment. Don't judge yourself for having them. Just acknowledge your humanness and be as kind to yourself as you can. But these thoughts are always churning away quite often, and quite often they're in the background, unconscious as well, that we're not even aware of. And they're dragging us down. They're pulling that energy down. They're filling that room with all those stagnant old objects that we've collected. So with a more empowered mindset, which we're going to just turn up a little bit today, with a more empowered mindset, we become more confident to make choices in our life. We become more in the driver's seat of our life in a conscious and aware way, instead of the unconscious loops running the show. We want to feel more empowered in our ability to cope with whatever comes up, instead of feeling completely overwhelmed or reactive or defensive. We want to be able to take a breath, to be as kind to ourselves as we can, and to allow a bit of softness into the body, and maybe to hold ourselves a bit taller. Posture is really important in the empowerment as well. And make choices that are going to nourish us, that we're going to feel lighter about, we're going to feel more empowered. So there's a sense of resilience as well, being resilient to those things that we have to deal with in life. Okay, good. So you could, I forgot to mention when we're talking about things you might need, you might want some paper and a pen, because it can help to note things down or journal during the session, or maybe at the end if you have anything come up. But also you don't need that, it's fine, just to go with the flow, and maybe to note things in your mind can be a good memory exercise. As we're moving energy and emotions, you might find a bubbling up, you might find sensations in the body, like I mentioned, a heat or a coolness. You might have different thoughts, ideas, emotions pop up, and you might be like, where did that come from? What's that? That's all a natural part of the process. We're going to go very gentle. We're doing a general session because obviously it's not one-to-one therapy. So at any time, if you feel a bit overwhelmed, if you feel that on the scale of 1 to 10, your intensity of an emotion, that might be a more difficult emotion, if it is 8 or higher, then you might want to just sit and tap and breathe to pause the session. You might want to go get a cuppa, to pick up the phone to speak to somebody. Just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. That is the main thing. You can always come back to this another time. Okay, so we're going to begin by doing a bit of a visualization together. And visualization is a great way to feel empowered, because we know the mind is so powerful, and the connection between the mind and the body is phenomenal. We're learning more and more about that connection. When we visualize something like an empowering experience, it's allowing circuits to strengthen in our brain. So we talked about those loops, didn't we, in the unconscious that might be negative and stuck and stagnant, going round and round. We know through neuroscience that the brain is fluid, it's not fixed, it changes, it evolves, new pathways can be built all the time. So through using visualization to connect with empowered thoughts, empowered experiences, we are helping to rebuild these new pathways, or to strengthen the pathways that are already there. So they might be a bit weak, might need a bit more focus and attention to grow them, but we can do that, and that's what we're going to do. So to begin, I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable to do that, and to start by taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose and just a big sigh out the mouth to begin. So nice deep breath in, expanding your belly. Exhaling, letting everything go. Let your shoulders go as much as you can. Is there a bit of softness in your tummy, in your neck? Begin to turn your attention inwards a bit more if you can. So creating a bit of a barrier between you and the outside world. You don't need to worry about that right now. We're just turning inwards. And I'd like you to begin this visualization with me by using your wonderful imagination and find yourself walking along a corridor. And at the end of this corridor, there's a door for a lift. And as you approach, the door opens and you step into the lift. And it begins to take you down really gently, the perfect pace for you just to sink down and relax. As you go down and down through all these layers and levels. You can feel your feet on the ground in the lift. You're nice and safe and supported. Going down a bit deeper with each level. Curious about what you'll find when the doors open. And gently, you feel a very, very gentle, just thud as you hit the ground and the doors open. You step through the doors. You breathe in the air. And up ahead, you see a meadow. It's a very inviting meadow, beautiful flowers, wildflowers, animals, birds, trees just drooping over the edges. And you get to your meadow, and at the end of the meadow, there's a door. And this door is a colour that you choose. You approach this door, and on the door there's a plaque. And it says, empowered. And below the plaque, you can see scratched into the door with love and care is your name. And you reach out to open the door and you step through into a place full of memories. There's cabinet upon cabinet filled with these globes that are holding these glowing light. And each globe with each glowing light is a memory from your life. And the beauty is you don't need to know what all of these memories are. All you need to know is that each one is a time when you felt really confident and really empowered when you dealt with a difficult situation. And some of the globes represent times when you survived, you got through it, you did your best. And other globes that shine even brighter represent when you really, really took care of yourself, when you really felt resilient, when you really dealt with it and came through the other side. And remember, even if you're thinking that you can't remember these events, it doesn't matter because they're here, stored away in these cabinets, in these globes, in the back depths of your mind. Some of them might have been when you were a baby, a toddler, a child, a teenager, or for the decades of your life. There's one in particular that's glowing really, really brightly. And I want you to allow yourself to get closer to this one and to pick it up and to hold it in your hands or to hold it close to your body, however you can do that. And as you look into the light that's glowing in this globe, I'd like you to see yourself as a baby, as a toddler. And I want you to see yourself learning to walk. See yourself getting up, shuffling along, falling back down, getting back up. And this globe is shining so brightly because of the resilience, the determination. You just kept going. You didn't question it. You just knew what to do and you did it. Even though you didn't know that you knew it. Remember that innate, empowered, confident part of you. To cope, to learn, to grow, to try. You don't always get it right. You fall down and you get back up. You choose to try again and to get back up again. And allow this glowing light in this sphere to begin to wrap around your body, to go into your heart, into your tummy, so your whole body is glowing too. And imagine all of the other globes in all of the cabinets begin to get brighter as well. I want you to find another door. And the door says empowered as well. And again, it has your name scratched on it. And underneath your name, it has the word now. Open the door and step through and take a nice deep breath. Okay, we're going to start tapping together. So, tapping the point on the outside of the hand to begin, take a nice deep breath. We'll just go through the points and breathe together. Top of the head, nice deep breath. So if any of these points you can't do, maybe for an injury, a disability, or a pain condition, it doesn't matter. Just miss the point out. Imagine tapping it. Just breathe nice and steady and tap on some other points that are easier for you. Tapping the inner eyebrow where your eyebrows begin on both sides. Nice deep breath. Outer eyes. Nice deep breath. Under the eyes. Under the nose. Under the mouth, above the chin. Tapping just under both collarbones here. There's a little soft spot, so we're just tapping there. So it's not just here, it's just under this point. Nice deep breath. If any of the other higher points are difficult, this is a good point to focus on. You'll still get benefit even if you're not doing the full sequence. Under the arm, so we could do both sides. You can wrap your arms around like this, or we can just do one side. We're just tapping on the side where the bra strap is if you wear one, taking a nice deep breath. Tapping the wrist, either wrist is fine, just tapping across like this. So I know these points can feel strange if you've not done it before. And the whole thing of EFT can feel a bit woo-woo. I've felt like that too. But I've also been doing it long enough to know that it moves energy, that it shifts our blocks and helps bring in new perspectives. Tapping the thumb either side of where the nail bed begins, nice deep breath. Next finger, again, tapping where the nail bed begins on both sides. So remember, this is just a bit of a test run just to show you the points in case you're new to it. But tapping and breathing is great for relaxation and reducing stress anyway. Next finger, nice deep breath. Try and soften your body a few percent more as you go through this. We're helping the body to soften and relax. So the more soft and relaxed the body is, the more the energy is going to flow and move through. Next finger. Okay. Good. So we're going to go through some tapping together. This time we're going to speak. So I want you to repeat after me, ideally out loud. I know it can be a bit silly, but hopefully you are at home in your own space. So Just have a play with giving yourself a bit more of a voice, repeating after me out loud. If you would rather do it in your head, that's okay. That's okay too. And throughout this process, it's ideal for you to make it as specific to you and your situation as possible. So we're talking about things that are coming up in our lives that are difficult to cope with. So if there's something in particular that's going on for you, in this session, don't pick a major thing. Don't pick something that's going to bring really intense, difficult emotions up. I want to keep you safe. Make sure you keep yourself safe and take care of yourself. So we're going to be more gentle. We're going to focus on things that are causing us difficulty but aren't overwhelming. So you can judge that for yourself by using that scale. If on a scale of 1 to 10, the intensity feels like 8 or higher, I would suggest not going into that today. We'll work with things that are a bit lower. Okay. Right, so let's begin to tune into the difficulties, the thing or the things we want to focus on. It could be something like the difficulty of the darker days and the seasons. It might be difficulty in a relationship, a disagreement, or just a difficulty you're having with somebody. It could be a difficulty around something you just need to fix that's niggling, that's bothering you. It might be it could be anything, couldn't it? But it might be perhaps a health issue, or that's creating a difficult time in your life, and perhaps insomnia, like whatever your thing is. Just tune into it a bit. And if there's a few things, you can focus on a few, but it would help to home in on the most intense thing, the thing that's causing you most difficulty. And throughout this process, if you notice different things come up, feel free to go with it. Feel free to change the wording. Feel free to follow your instinct and adjust it to match you. If words I say don't feel right, then make sure you change them for words that feel more aligned to you and how you would think about it. That will help you to move the energy more. Okay, so whilst tapping this hand, I want you to tune into that difficult thing, the difficulty that you're trying to cope with and struggling to cope with, seeking support with. And I'd like you to see how your body feels when you consider it. So I'll just explain. Where do you hold your reaction to that, for example? Do you feel tension in your shoulders? Do you feel a tightness in your chest? Do you feel nervousness in your tummy? And if you're not sure, that's okay. You can guess. You can have a guess. If you did know, where would it be? And you can also say it's a numbness or a disconnection. We can work with that. So there's no right or wrong. Just tune into when you think about this difficulty that's coming up for you. What do you feel in your body? And repeat after me. Even though, when I think about this difficulty, it makes me feel, and complete the sentence. How does it make you feel? Where do you feel it in your body? What's going on? Right now, I'm going to try to accept myself anyway. Nice deep breath. If you have resistance to accepting yourself, that's so natural. That's why we say try. Yeah, see if there's a part of you that is willing to try. Even though this difficulty coming up in my life, I wish it wasn't there. I feel it in my body. How do you feel it? Be specific. And right now, I'm going to try to accept myself anyway. Even though I'm trying to cope with this difficult time. And I'm finding it really hard. And when I think about it, it makes me feel, how does it make me feel? Right now, I'm going to try to accept myself anyway. And to open to the possibility. of feeling more empowered. more resilient, more in control of my life. Top of the head, nice deep breath. But right now it feels really difficult. And I want you to again be specific. Does it feel overwhelming? Does it feel stressful? Does it feel scary? Does it feel heavy? What does it feel like? Inner eyebrows. And I'm going to try to be kind to myself anyway. Outer eyes, nice deep breath. Right now I'm struggling with this thing. I'm struggling to cope. Under the eyes. And I'd like to feel more empowered. I'd like to feel more confident. Under the nose. Again, how would you like to feel about this thing? What would empowerment feel like for you? How would it be for you to be able to cope? What would that look like? Under the mouth. I'd like to feel empowered to cope with this. Collarbone, nice deep breath. But right now I feel it in my body. The difficulty of this time. And I wish it was different. Under the arm. Focus in on the feeling in your body and repeat. I feel this difficult time in my body. Tapping the wrist. I feel this difficult time in my body. And remember, if it's a numbness, a disconnection, you're not sure, just use what you've got. And it might change. So if you started with anxiety in your chest, it might become a headache. That's energy moving, just be aware. Tapping the thumb, both sides of that nail bed. Repeat. Sometimes it's really difficult to cope with life. Next finger. Sometimes it feels like I'm drowning in it. Next finger. Sometimes I feel alone with that feeling. Next finger. But right now I'm tapping with other people. Next finger. That are going through a similar thing perhaps. Top of the head. So maybe I'm not alone. Other people are struggling with difficult times as well. Inner eyebrows. I wonder what advice I would give them if they told me they were struggling to cope. Outer eyes. I wonder what kindness I would show them if they told me that they were struggling to cope. Under the eyes. I wonder how that would be for me to talk to myself that way. Under the nose. And this feeling in my body of struggling to cope. Under the mouth. These difficult times. This thing that is bothering me. Under the collarbone, nice deep breath. I'm going to try to accept myself with this feeling. This feeling in my system. When I think about this difficulty in my life. Under the arm. And I don't know what the answer is. But I know that I have to cope. Tapping the wrist. And sometimes I feel like I'm not coping. Maybe I'm quite critical of myself. Just see how that lands, if that feels true for you. It's true for a lot of us. Tapping the thumb on both sides. I'd like to feel more empowered. Next finger. But if I'm honest, I'm struggling with this difficulty. Next finger. I'd like to feel more confident to cope. Next finger. But it's not always easy. Next finger. And I'm going to try to be kind to myself anyway. Hands on the heart, nice deep breath. Just tune in with yourself, tune in with your body. Notice what you feel. Did anything come up? Has anything moved that feeling you had in your body when you were thinking about this thing. Just tune in and see if it's changed. Please know that if it's gone up a little bit, don't feel like it's getting worse. It's part of moving the energy through. And if it's gone into something completely different, or a different part of your body, that's really natural too. So just tune in a little bit, soften the body, see what there is. If you've got pen and paper, you can note it down. Okay. We're going to explore a bit more around this empowerment, so what that would be like for you, and just growing that neural pathway we talked about at the start. Okay. So assuming you feel well and resilient to continue this session, start tapping the outside of the hand and repeat. Even though there's all these difficult things going on, and part of me is struggling to cope, I have this other part of me that feels more empowered. So I just want to say, if you are feeling like that part is tiny, that you can barely reach it, that's okay. It's still in there. Remember that visualization at the start. You as a toddler, learning new skills, carrying on, coping with the challenge of learning to be in the world. The really simple things. And there might be times in your life that you do feel proud, where you coped with something quite difficult. Remember that. Let that help you build a trust muscle with yourself, that you are capable of doing more than you realize, that you've coped with difficult times before, you will cope with them again, and maybe you've got better at it, but you just haven't realized. Or perhaps you feel like maybe you've lost the skill a bit and you can regrow it. Nice deep breath. Even though sometimes it's difficult to cope with this. There's a lot going on, and it's really challenging. But right now, I choose to notice all the ways that I have coped in my life. And I'm curious about all the ways that I will cope again. Nice deep breath. Even though it feels like I'm not coping very well, or that I should be doing better. When I think about this difficult thing, it fills my body with tension, stress, anxiety, whatever it is. And in this moment, I acknowledge these feelings, and I choose to notice and remember the empowered part of me that feels more resilient and confident. And if you have that memory of something in the past where you have coped with a difficult time, then just let it come to your mind and remember it, play it out in your head. Take a deep breath, hold your shoulders up a bit, hold yourself a bit taller, create more space in your body, and repeat. Even though these difficult times in my life, they're hard to cope with, and I feel them in my body. And right now, I'm going to try to connect to my empowerment. The part of me that coped in the past, the part of me that brought me to this session today, the part of me that believes in me, in my ability to get through this. Maybe I'm doing a lot better than I realize. Maybe I'm doing just fine. And I'm open to the possibility of feeling more empowered in my life. Top of the head, nice deep breath. But there's all these difficult things, and I have to cope with them. Inner eyebrows. Part of me wants to just hide away, to not have to deal with the world at all. Does that feel familiar? We all get that feeling, don't we? Nice deep breath. And I give myself permission to feel that. Sometimes I don't want to cope. Under the eyes. And I choose to show up as best I can. To put one foot in front of the other. Under the nose. I'd like to feel more empowered. And maybe I feel a little bit more empowered today. Under the mouth, above the chin. Remembering all the ways that I've coped in the past. And all the ways that I will cope again. Collarbone, nice deep breath. I wonder what it would be like for me to feel more confident and able to cope. So tune into that idea. Remember, if it feels really small, that connection, maybe you can't even imagine it, that's okay. Just a few percent, even asking the question is opening up more of that energy and that possibility of something being different, or creating these new pathways, letting go of the old ones. So nice deep breath, soften the body. And repeat again, I wonder what that would be like for me. To feel more empowered, more able to cope with difficult times. And you might get a sense of what that would be like. You might feel not there yet, and that's okay. I'm open to the possibility that I could feel more confident, more resilient, or simply feel more acceptance for the part of me that struggles to cope. Under the arm, nice deep breath. I'm going to try to have more acceptance for that part of me that is struggling to cope with life. Tapping the wrist, because I'm only human. And it's part of the human journey. Difficult things happen. And I'm not alone. I'm human like everybody else. Tapping the thumb both sides. I feel like I should be doing better. I should be able to cope with this. Next finger. But should is a big word. And it's not doing me any favours. Next finger. How about I choose? I choose to be able to cope with this. Next finger. Or I choose to open to a bit more acceptance of how I feel. Next finger. Because I do have choice. Even if it's a tiny choice today. Top of the head. So I want you to connect to this idea. It's an empowering idea. Quite often we feel disempowered, that we've got no choice. It's a difficult situation in life. And that is often a reality that we're in. But can we shift perspective? Is there a tiny way that we can have a bit of choice where we give ourselves a bit more empowerment? We can choose how we respond to something as best we can. We can give ourselves a bit more time to deal with something. We can create a bit more space to give ourselves time to work through something. We can reach out for help or support. Somebody we know, or perhaps a helpline. There are choices. We can even choose to boil the kettle and make ourselves a nice hot drink to give ourselves that nourishing moment in our eyebrows. Sometimes I struggle to cope with this. Outer eyes. And I choose to be kind to myself anyway. Under the eyes. I feel like I should be coping better. Under the nose. But I don't think that's doing me any favours. Under the mouth. I wonder what would help me cope better with this. I wonder what would help me feel more empowered, more confident. Under the collarbone, nice deep breath. I choose to connect to that part of me that got up and learned how to walk, that carried on again and again, even though it was difficult. So you may have your own version of that. That's just an example. If that doesn't feel right for you for any reason, you can choose something else. under the arm. And I choose to acknowledge this part of me that has the resilience to cope with difficult times. Tapping the wrist. And it's not always perfect. I don't always do it beautifully well. Sometimes it can be quite messy. And I don't want anyone to see that. Tapping the thumb both sides. Right now I choose to acknowledge that everybody has that. Next finger. Right now I choose to acknowledge that we're all just doing our best. Middle finger. Right now I choose to acknowledge that I showed up to this session today. Next finger. And I choose to acknowledge all the times that I have coped with life. Next finger. Maybe my bucket's just a bit full at the moment. And maybe that's okay. Just tapping or holding this point here, either hand, in between the little finger and the ring finger, we go down. So point just here. So you can tap or hold it. So I'm just holding it like so. And I want you to take a nice deep breath. You can close your eyes, repeat after me. Even though there's a lot of difficulty, things that I am struggling to cope with, general life, the world, my bucket's been feeling quite full. Like it could overflow at any moment. Nice deep breath. And in this moment, I choose to be kind and patient with myself. And to remember all of the ways that I have coped with difficult things since I was born. And I'm doing my best. And I'm only human. And I'm finding my way. And I want you to return, if that visualization at the start was engaging and useful for you, you can return to that room with the spheres and the balls and the light, that empowerment space, all those memories that are stored. And you might find another one in there of a time when you've coped with a difficult time. Or you might just want to visit somewhere that feels nourishing and safe, like a place in nature, a cozy room or a home. Allow yourself to visit something that feels uplifting, engaging. As much as you can, remember just a few percent of connecting is enough. Take a nice deep breath. And picture that door with the word empowerment. And with the etched in words, your name, the word now, and anything else you want to add to that door that will help you feel empowered. Maybe the word confident. Maybe the word resilient. Maybe the word kindness. That might be to yourself, to others, acceptance, whatever it is. It might be something that helps you feel more able to cope, like a nice cup of tea, a nice connection or community. Just see what forms on that door. Let the words just etch up, just appear. And if you aren't a visual person, then you can do this in a different way. You can hear the words, or you can just feel that sensation in your body. Bringing colours, the sense of these words into your system. Nourish yourself with it. Softening the body as much as you can. You can let go of your hand. And I'd like you just to take a moment to check in with your body. How do you feel? Is there anything that came up for you want to note down? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel a bit more alive and uplifted? There's no right or wrong. You might feel a bit of heaviness or tiredness. We've moved energy. whatever it is, just be aware of it and see how your system feels when you think about this difficulty and this thing. And you may feel different about it, or you may just have a bit more acceptance for yourself and the situation, which is huge. That acceptance of what is really big stuff. So remember, just a few percent of more acceptance, a few percent of feeling a bit more confident, resilient, or empowered, or just allowing yourself to feel whatever you feel. This is big stuff. So be kind to yourself and recognize that empowered part in you. Remember, the pathways that we give the focus to will grow and become stronger. So I would love for you to connect to that empowered part as often as you can, maybe a little exercise, like 5 minutes a day for a week, maybe. You could connect to the sense of you that feels more empowered. Like, how did you feel when you were coping with difficult times in your life? If you could guess, how were you holding your body? How did you feel in your body? What emotions were coming up for you? What colors come to mind? Where are you? And just connect to that. Let it grow in your system as much as possible. We're growing those pathways. You can also say to yourself whilst tapping, so soften the body, let your breath flow, try to let go of tension, don't fight anything that comes up. So if you get tearful or you want to laugh or yawn, let it happen. And you can say to yourself, I'm going to try to accept myself and to find more empowerment. I'm going to try to be patient with myself and to remember all of the ways that I've coped. And it could be even more simple than that. It might be the word empowerment. It might be the word resilient, confident. I can do this. I believe in myself. Whatever it is. And remember, you can come back to this session as many times as you want to. So it's not a magic wand. We're moving energy, we're shifting emotions, but some of these have been held, and some of these beliefs have been held in our system for a really long time. These patterns and those loops. So keep going, keep tapping, and keep supporting your system to let go and release. And remember that you're not alone. It's part of human nature. Connect through sessions like this, or reach out to somebody if needed. But yeah, well done for showing up today. Take really good care of yourself. Drink plenty of water because you've moved energy. It's very healing work. So really rest if you need to rest. Move the body if you need to move the body. Just listen to what you need. Nice, wholesome, nourishing food if you can. But stay warm, stay safe, stay cozy. And I look forward to seeing you for another session really soon. Thank you for joining.